Right, Jack, well, it's been a couple of years since we were last out with you. Time flies.
2 years.
So, it's a busy time of year for you, Jack.
Yeah, we're cracking on with the beet preparation.
So just remind everyone, if people don't know already, what do you boys do here?
We're a mixed setup with rotation of cereals and sugar beet. So our sugar beet has grown again. We're on 140 acres this year. We have risen by a mighty 5 acres.
So you've pushed again, increased
yeah,
again this year?
Due to the demand of the stock feed bit and also the factory.
So the majority of your sugar beet is going to the Newark sugar
factory,
beet
yeah.
then?
Most of it, yeah.
How long have you been supplying them with beet?
Since 2016 we've been supplying them with sugar beet.
And has that increased each year? Or?
Slowly, but not every year. It's been the same for a couple of years. But
So is it just sugar beet you grow here?
Just sugar beet, yeah.
And there's a market for that on the stock
There
feed
is
side
a market,
of things
yeah.
as well. Is there a certain variety you have to grow for the sugar beet factory?
Not really, there's all sorts. We try and grow the varieties that we can control on the heavier ground, like the clay soils where we are now. We're on a sand and clay soil type here. We try and grow a drought resistant variety here. Back at home we've got the irrigation system, so we can sort of keep on top of the water top up. The decision has been made that we're going straight in with the disc grater.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so what cultivations are you doing before beet then?
Before beet, we generally do the plough, disc grate, at a slight angle to the ploughing, and then go in with the 6 metre, and then straight in with the drill. But this year, because it's so dry, we're having to do a field by field basis and then see what it's like on the day.
So what have you done in this field then?
So we've put the Beet 425 carrier across it, across all the sugar beet ground, because the muck spreaders came in and spread it all, and we thought, oh, we ain't gonna get there for a couple of weeks. Dad came to the decision that it would be quicker just to fly over with the disc grater and then go in with the 6 metre. So that's why we've put the disc grater in a bit more.
So you've gone once through with a carrier, now you're in with a disc grater.
At about 2 feet, 1.5 to 2 feet down. We've got the big feet on the back, 3 legs, and the short one, the narrow ones on the front.
Fight the hill, Jack.
Fight the hill.
Yeah. So you're running different points on the front and the back?
Yeah.
What's the reason for that then?
Pulling power and the fuel usage of putting the big ones on the front to take a bit more on this heavier ground.
And I see you're running a Lemkin press as well on the back.
Reason for that, because the McConnell one kept blocking up on the sandy soils. As soon as it saw a bit of moisture, pick up, block up, and bulldoze some of the soil down the field. The decision was made to chop it off the back. So we had this packer from Morris Caulfields, and we just welded it straight onto the back of it. And so far it's been a brilliant packer. And it's got that, because it's a double D roller, it can chop up a bit more, which we will need on this sort of soils because of the clods.
What made you go for the McConnell disc grater in the first place then?
We wanted something that we could go with depth, but then we can have the shallowness of it if we needed to. Because you can alter everything on it, like the packer, you can alter the pitch, and you can alter the settings of each leg, and it's very cheap to run. We've never known anything else we can run as cheap as this. All the points come from Spaldings, shins, legs, and everything, the feet, and it's just spot on for our system really. It won't work for every farming system out there, but it works for our system with the mixture of soils.
And you're going in with the power harrow
straight after
behind
the
disc grater. What power harrow are you running?
We're running a 6 metre 6004 power harrow.
You got that on the 76?
We got that on the 76, yeah. That came out of Weaving Farm Machinery. That was another punt we took. We were running a Lely 3 metre power harrow with a coil roller on the back, and with these bigger tractors and trying to cover the ground, it was just so uneven, and the time consuming of it was just...
I suppose on a day like today when you're trying to keep in front of it, you can leave the power harrow on the other tractor.
We can just keep going like...
And what tractors are you running currently?
We're running the same 3. We were 3.
That's okay then. You haven't changed too much.
We haven't changed too much, no.
Just remind everyone, what are you running?
We're running a Dyna 7 8S245. I know people would say, oh, why didn't you go for a Vero? It was the price at the start, and Grandpa was still driving them, and he wanted a geared tractor. And then we're running a 7626 Dyna 6, and then a 3085 Dyna shift.
So you're still running, the 3085 still puts a shift in?
She still puts a shift in.
Is that the tractor you've got on the Beet drill this year?
That's it, that is the one.
What's the reason you run that tractor on the Beet drill then?
Narrow tyres, and it's just, the turning circle of it is next to nothing. Like, plus with these heavy tractors, I don't think you'd probably get an uneven coverage of the seed coming up.
Tell us a bit about that tractor then, Jack.
3085, Grandpa brought it new back in 1994, 95 I think.
How many hours has that tractor done?
About 8,500. She's had 3 engine rebuilds. That's why partly Grandpa kept her, because of the engine builds, and she doesn't do too much work now. She does the odd bit and stuff, but we try and keep her in the back of the shed a bit.
The Beet drill is the most recent change.
The most recent change, yeah.
Tell us what you're running now then.
Running a Monosem 12-row Mecha 4 drill. The reason for the change, purely to the fact that the Stan A has done about 45 years last year of drilling beet, and for the increase of the acreage, we've decided that it's time for modernisation of the beet drill.
So what machine were you running before?
Stan Hay 12-row.
She did a bit for you, I think.
She's done a bit. She's done a lot. But it just, some of the things like the placement of the seed was uneven. You wouldn't really get a full row sometimes. But back in the day, that's all you needed. But now you're trying to chase the tonnage really. So with this new Monosem drill, it's far better and quicker set. Well, not quicker, but you feel a bit more confident the seed placement of what we were running out. Running about 18.5 centimetre row spacings and 50 centimetres in between each row. So we've had to change the rows of it due to the fact that sugar beet harvester is on 50 centimetres. It was a second-hand one out of Toucan Farm Sales, but so far it's been a good drill, I think.
Hello from Red Lion Farm. My name is Kevin Mowbray. I work for Toucan Farm Machinery, who are the importer for Monosem UK. For those who don't know, Monosem is owned solely by John Deere and has been now for 10 years. So this makes Monosem and John Deere the world's biggest precision drill makers. Monosem do all types of precision drills. So we make onion drills, carrot drills, pumpkin, peas, beans, maize, sugar beet in various guises. Now today we're on Red Lion Farm, and I spoke to Phil Priest, the owner, around 2 years ago, and he was looking for a second-hand beet drill. So I said to Phil, the first thing you must do, you must make sure that these drills have been tested, because if you don't, you could be buying a lot of trouble. So just to run you through what then happened, Phil came and met me at Lama 2024. And then we discussed and showed him all around the drill. And then last year he managed to find a second-hand one in a farm sale. So then he got in touch with me, and I came and fetched his units and took them back to Norfolk, where they were tested on a sticky belt to make sure they were accurate. And I did this for free, and then I brought them back, and hence we're here today, and he's about to start sugar beet drilling. So just to explain what can go wrong with a cell wheel drill is, in here we have the actual bare unit, and this on ours has got a horseshoe in there which basically stops the wear, or it reduces the wear on the main casting. As soon as you get wear, then you'll get inaccuracy within the planting system. So as you can see in my hand, I've got a cell wheel here, and the cell wheel system, whether it's one of ours or one of our competitors, is very, very simple. It's a 5 cell, which you can see here, and this goes round at ground speed. So if you're doing 2k or 8, 10k, this will drop the seed exactly where you've put the gearbox. So here you've got a space here which will drop it anywhere between 15 to 18 centimeters, depending on what seeds per hectare you're doing. So as this goes round, the seed comes round this here in this slot, and then as it gets to here, it's ejected and it's dropped, placed into the ground, firmed by this pro wheel and then these two wheels here consolidate at the back. And then you've got a depth control wheel here, which is operated by this. So this drill's a 2015. It's a mechanical drive. So here we have the chains that drive it, and in here is the gearbox, so you can choose whatever gears you want. And if you look behind as well, we've got some very narrow parallel fold, so all your linkage when you're in work is exactly the same as when you're folded. Because if you start going down the road with your units on the side, all the strain is in this linkage here. Other things to check for when you're buying a second hand or when you're setting up your drill for pre-season is make sure your tyre pressures are right, make sure that your point to point is exactly 45-50 centimetres depending on what row width you are, and you've got a nice level seabed. And that's not just for the drill, that's for the harvester. Because if you haven't got a level, even seabed, your sugar beet harvester will not pick your sugar beet up. And also as well, if you want to, you can have some double discs on the front for trash and cloddy conditions. And also as well, these points are available with tungsten if needed. As you can see as well, Phil's using a nice little light tractor. Again, don't be fooled and start going for big tractors. The lighter the tractor, the better the seedbed's going to be for you.
The seed rate that we're running currently at home on the grade 1 soils is about 1.1 units per hectare. So one box of seed will won't even cover a hectare, so it's 1 and a bit boxes to do a hectare. But on these heavier soils we'll probably go a bit more, probably go 1.3 I think, 1.5. Just because of the moisture up here in the clay soils.
So how long have your family been in the beet job then? It wouldn't be very often you have someone in Shropshire growing sugar beet for the Newark Sugar Beet Factory. So how did it all come about?
How did it all come about? Grandpa started the beet job back down in Hagley in Worcestershire. We needed another great crop to grow, and his other mates wanted to grow it as well, so it was like a community. Everyone came together, the drill was shared, and then when we moved up here we were still growing it on the heavier soils till about 2007, but then it was going to Kidderminster and Allscott factories, so once they shut in, I think it was 2007, 2008 I think, or a bit earlier, our acreage went from 100 down to about 30 acres a year.
So that factory shutting was a big change for you then?
Really. We were just growing it for stock feed, we started stock feed customers and just hibernated for a couple of years. We didn't really grow much. And then back in 2016 it was a case of we'd take it to Newark. Back then it was Tim Rutter, he was hauling it for a couple of years, and in 21 I think Nigel Roper from down Hereford, who grows about 700 acres of sugar beet, he can take about 7 loads in a week. Because there's animal feed coming back to Welshpool, Malpass and Market Drayton. It's an hour back to our yard, back up to the factory. And
so what ground conditions do you need to be able to plant beet then? Ideally, what are you after?
Firm, but enough tilth on top. The reason why we're running through with the disc grater is to move that soil so the tap roots can get down to that moisture. So like now, we have got the moisture there, but by the time we finish the field, I think it'll be gone. We can't mow because we haven't really had this sort of weather for the last couple of years, have we, really?
No. How does the beet fit into your rotation then?
Quite well. We grow, so we have a wheat, and then sugar beet, and then it go back into a wheat again. So it does help having the beet in, and also because the deep cultivation of the beet, it just allows the mixing the soils a bit more, and also the top, because we've got a mulching top on the front of the sugar beet harvester, it leaves an even coverage of some of the residue from the beet. So like on the old Macho M31 we were running, it was a side discharge. We found that you look across the field and you could see the difference in the colour of the wheat or the barley we were growing, but now it's the Agrifac's leaving it more even, but mulching it in and leaving an average coverage of all the tops.
What's maintenance on a disc grater like this then, Jack? Wearing parts?
You don't have to touch it really.
No.
You really don't. A few grease nipples, changing the legs between when we cultivate for rape and when we disc grape for sugar beet, really.
Different depths then, is
They are different depths. We have it really shallow for rape, and then for sugar beet we have it quite deep. Still got the original discs on it, really.
Oh, it has?
Still got the original discs, yeah.
How do you find the auto reset?
Really good. You still have the big bolts on the back of it, like, that's the only time you'll have one of those bolts go is if you've hit something really hard or they have started to wear a bit.
So how do you manage what beet is going in and out of the yard each time then, Jack?
2 years ago, really. Went to Lama and we saw this RDS Topcon. They had this demonstration of this loader weigher.
Right.
So it's plumbed into the hydraulics and it's got a screen in the cab and it tells you what you're lifting up into the air, so you can do your bale spike, your buckets.
So you
grab.
know how much is in that bucket each time?
Every time. Lifts up and it measures it and you can count it down or whatever. It's just a godsend for when you're taking beet out to people or loading the lorries. If the lorries haven't got a weigher working on the trailers for some reason, our yard isn't really designed to be having a weigh bridge put in. It's quite handy with all the technology nowadays that you can put on a machine.
And I see you've got it on the
We
tractor.
have got it on this
well.
one tractor now.
How does that work then?
So it's got a hydraulic coupler in the back end of the tractor, and then it's got electrical supply to it, and it's a chamber about that big. So when you tip the trailer up so far, you calibrate it all and you put your figures in. It fills the chamber with oil and it sends a read into the cab with this monitor here, and yeah, and you can total it how much that trailer is done that day or how much is on the pad. And even when we take a poultry muck out to the field, it's just, you know how much is in each pile, and you can tell the muck spreaders that as well.
And what about you, Jack? You're third generation here. Is that right? Fourth.
Would be fourth.
Yeah, fourth.
So
yeah,
my grandpa's dad started.
Yeah, that's right.
He died when Grandpa was only 16. He came home from school and he just took on the farm like that.
Wow. That was a big thing for you guys.
And then we did have cattle and sheep and God knows what back then, and he just said, right, sell it all and we'll just go into arables. But on the Thrashes and stay at the Grove where we are cultivating here. We've been here over 150 years that we can see so far.
Right, well, cheers for having a catch up with us, Jack.
No worries.
It's been nice to come out and see how you boys are getting on, and I would think we'll have to come back in the summer really, because you've upgraded the combine and we still haven't had a chance to see it yet. So we'll come out and see you in the summer, and we'll have a look into the cereal side of it.
And everything to do with that, really.
Yeah.
So,
No, cheers for having us, Jack, and we'll
worries.
see you again.